What is up, guys? My name is Dakota, and today in this video, I want to go over a cold calling script. If you have been investing for a little while, you've probably cold called people. Or if you're new to investing, one of the lowest cost ways to get a hold of people is going to be cold calling. All right, so before you ever get on the phone with somebody, everybody is always wondering, what am I going to say whenever I actually get on the phone? And if you've been cold called before, you probably know that some of them were really good and then some of them were not so good. The cool thing about sales is just the intro. You know, they always say that you can't have a second first impression, which is true, but the cool thing about sales is you can mess up the beginning and still be able to save it at the end. Cold calling, however, is going to be a little bit more complicated because people are very likely to hang up within the first 10 seconds of a conversation if you don't grab their attention. So that's why I created this script specifically to get people's attention. A little bit of background on me is I was in car sales for about 6 years of my life. I had 50-something salesperson of the months. I was salesperson of the year 4 times in a row. I took everything that I learned from car sales and brought it over into real estate, and now I'm co-owner of LTD Property Group and several other companies that we have. We own somewhere around 64 rentals, and we flip a little over 100 properties a year. So do have a lot of experience in talking to people and have cold called a lot of people as well. So whenever you're going to get into this script, the first thing that I want you to say is, hi, is this, and then say their name. So if their name is Bob, I want you to just say, hi, is this Bob? And most of the time they'll be like, yeah. If you do not know the owner's name, like let's say it's an LLC or something, you could say, hey, I was looking for the owner of 123 Main Street. So because obviously you don't know their name, and they also don't know why you're calling yet, so they're not going to hang up if you're asking for the owner of 123 Main Street. You might be the neighbor that's calling and saying, hey, I saw somebody trying to break into your house. You might be a utility company. You might be an insurance company. So they really don't know the reasons of why you're calling, so they will not hang up yet. After you get to, hey, is this Bob? They're going to say, yeah. You want to say, hey, this is Dakota. I know this call is out of the blue, but I was calling about a property that I believe you own on 123 Main Street. Most of the time, again, they're going to say, yeah, because again, they don't know why you're calling yet. And this is where you're going to get a little bit of like a flashback. But the cool thing is you're already so far in the conversation that they are so much less likely to hang up on you now because you've already had some back and forth. They've spoken, you've spoken, like you've already had a couple seconds of back and forth. So now it doesn't matter as much what happens next because they're more likely to stay on the phone call with you. So what we say next is, well, I was calling to see if you would consider a cash offer on that property. Or you could say, I was calling to see if you would consider an offer on that property. The reason that we phrase it like that is because who does not want an offer on their property? The only people who wouldn't want an offer on their property is literally the people who do not want to sell at all. Because even me, I don't really want to sell my house, but I would consider an offer because it's always kind of fun to hear, oh yeah, it's worth about this. Then you're going to see if you can get some interest and stuff with other questions. But you want to ask a question that is very neutral statement and something that most people would want. Most of the time still, you're going to get a no. So you're going to say, hey, I was calling to see if you would consider an offer on that property. No. So then what I want you to say is, no worries. Do you have any other properties that you would consider selling? And just by asking that question, maybe we called about 123 Main Street, which is their personal residence, and they don't want to sell their home that they're living in, but maybe they own a lot of other properties that, yeah, I would consider an offer on that. So that's the reason that we asked the second question. Do you have any other properties that you would consider selling? Again, most of the time, you're going to go through this one by one, and you're going to get a lot of no's whenever you're talking to people. Just so you know, whenever you're cold calling, you're going to probably call somewhere around 50 to 100 people would be good for a day. Hopefully you get more, but that's going to be like the very minimum that you should be calling. And you're going to probably get 1 or 2 leads who is either interested in selling now or at some point in the future. But anyway, so first you're going to say, hey, I was calling to see if you consider an offer on that property. No. Okay, no problem. Do you have any other properties that you would consider selling? No. Okay. This is where I want you to remember this. Don't just go into this next question and say, hey, do you know anybody else that might be interested? Because again, what's going to happen there? They said no, and then you say, well, do you know anybody? No. But what you do is you want to break it up. And I believe that people like to help other people. So what we want to do is say, hey, well, we're actually a growing company. We're trying to get some more rentals in the area, or we have some extra cash right now that we're looking to get another flip. Say something where it's like, hey, I'm a person trying to make this happen. That's the reason why I called you. Do you happen to know anybody that might be interested in selling their property? Just from us asking that one question, we made $40,000 on a flip because we asked them, hey, do you want to sell your personal residence? Nope. Do you happen to have any other properties? Nope. But then we asked this question, and it just so happened that his mom had a property that she wanted to sell. We went over, took a look at that property. We said, yep, we'll buy it for exactly what she was asking for it. I think it was like $65,000 or something like that. And we ended up putting I think it was like 20 or 20 something into the property, and we ended up selling it for somewhere close to 140 if I remember all the numbers right. So just by asking these 3 questions in a row, we made a lot of money. And we asked these questions very specifically, like one right after the other. So make sure you do it in that row in order to get the best results. Most of the conversations that you're going to be having is 99% going to go like that. They're going to say no, no, no. Sometimes you're going to get on the phone with somebody and they're going to say, you're going to say, hey, this is Dakota. I know this call is out of the blue, but I was calling about a property I believe you own on 123 Main Street. Yeah, well, I was calling to see if you consider an offer on that property. So sometimes what they're gonna say, if they actually are slightly interested, is, well, what's your offer? So what I want you to say there is, well, I'd like to offer you what the property qualifies for. What could you tell me about it? And that is gonna get you to the investigation stage where you can actually figure out what their motivation is, what kind of pricing they want, what their timeline is, and all the other things that you really wanna figure out in the conversation. I don't have enough time in this video to go over all of the entire script and all the different steps after they say that they do want an offer, but this will at least get you started. And from what I've seen, that is usually the most difficult part for people, is I don't know what to say whenever I'm gonna get on the phone with somebody and it's really scary. And so this is a way to at least open up, start having the conversations, and start figuring out the rest.